Where you do have to look around and give the Sacramento Kings credit, a young team that took a gut punch with the way the Warriors played in their building on Wednesday night to take the 3-2 series advantage. And I don't know whether it was the early start or the overconfidence that was permeating the Bay Area over the last couple of days, acting as if this series was over. I'm not sure if the Warriors bought into any of that kind of a vibe, but regardless, Golden State just didn't have it. The Kings were desperate and forceful and did everything in the game tonight that they hadn't done as well in the last 3 games, but they were able to do in the first 2 games that they won. The bad Warriors were back tonight. Turnovers, offensive rebounds, and second chance opportunities for Sacramento, and the Warriors also took a ton of bad shots. And when they did try to work it in the paint, the Kings did a much better job against them in the paint in this game. The Warriors 18 for 46 in the paint, 39.1% shooting in the paint, a lot of contested shots, and just flat-out chunked layups by the Warriors in this game. And the Warriors found themselves up 2 at the end of the first quarter, which seemed like a miracle in a lot of ways because the Warriors were down 8-0 right off the start in this game. But the crowd was not as bad as expected with the 5:15 p.m. start time, but it was just a scattered Warriors start offensively. Bad shots, turnovers, unable to finish inside, 8-0 Kings right off the top. Domantas Sabonis was more impactful defensively than he'd been at any point in the series in that stretch, and the Warriors were going to be on an uphill climb. Klay Thompson missed a layup, forced a couple threes. Steph Curry was trying to keep him in it, and really that was kind of the theme of the night for the Warriors top to bottom was Steph trying to do his best job to keep Golden State in the game. But it was really, for the most part, an all systems fail as they got beat and got beat handily in both the second and fourth quarters, got outscored in the third quarter after barely somehow eking out that win in the first quarter. But it just comes back to all of the things that have plagued the Warriors in this series in the 3 losses have basically been the same things. And I got to be honest, just putting it bluntly and looking at it objectively, if you're a Warrior fan, you got to be feeling pretty shaky about going back to Sacramento for a Game 7 at 12:30 on Sunday afternoon. And here's the reason why. The Warriors have played their worst 2 games of this series in the 2 games where there was 1 day of rest in between each game. And now the Warriors are going to have 1 day of rest in between tonight's game and Sunday's game, but Sunday's not a night game. Sunday's a 12:30 in the afternoon game, so we're basically looking at about a 36 to 40-hour turnaround before Game 7. And flat out, the Warriors looked old tonight. The Kings looked more spry. The Kings looked more energetic. And the Warriors came out flat. They looked a step slow throughout the entire game. And the Kings took it to them. They were the aggressors. They were the more forceful team. The Warriors only hit 10 of 32 from three-point range. Sacramento, 17 of 45. Their best three-point shooting game of the series. And they wind up blowing the Warriors out of Chase Center in what was a closeout game and an opportunity for Golden State to knock the Kings out after getting the 1 road win that the Warriors obviously had to get to have a shot in this series. Well, here's the thing about those playoff series that you play without home court advantage. Often you need to win more than 1 game on the opposition's home court because typically the team that is the better seed, and Sacramento is the better seed in this particular instance, is able to get a road win as well. And the Kings played very much like the team who had the best road record in the Western Conference as far as the playoffs teams go. And I think they showed a little bit of what they did tonight and the confidence that came with how they played the game Sunday in Chase Center to keep that game close. They played free and easy. They looked real comfortable. And the Warriors at times tonight looked like they didn't have answers. And when the Warriors did have answers, they missed layups or turned the ball over or took bad shots or couldn't get a defensive rebound. And Sacramento was able to get extra opportunities. Kings ended up with 14 more field goal attempts than the Warriors in this one. 14 more field goal attempts because of the turnovers and the offensive rebounds. Everything the Warriors did well in these last three games to win the last three and take the 3-2 series lead, they were all right back and plaguing Golden State again in this one. And so it's 118-99 the final, and the Warriors are right back up against it and going to have to win another road game 90 miles away coming up Sunday afternoon at 12:30. So 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. It is Warriors wrap-up here on 95.7 The Game. A dejected Warrior crowd here at Harmonic Brewing outside of Chase in Thrive City as the Warriors are up against it on the brink of elimination, but also on the brink of, if they can cobble together a Game 7 performance with some of the champions' blood they showed in the last three games and on Wednesday night in Sacramento, very much still with an opportunity in front of them to move on to the next round, and we'll see what happens between the Lakers and the Grizzlies, who are going at it right now in the late game in Los Angeles. So, rough night for Klay Thompson, bad start. A lot of talk about Game 6 Klay, and it never really came to fruition. 2 of 9 from 3. Mentioned the 0 for 3 start. He was a minus 28, and Sacramento hunted Klay Thompson tonight. Dribble penetration, a big problem. Fox and Monk. This is the second game Malik Monk's won for the Kings in this series. And he was attacking, and they were trying to get him in space. They had the Warriors spread. Kings went smaller. Mike Brown did make an adjustment, played Terrence Davis, didn't play Alex Len. Domantas Sabonis was in foul trouble, only played 23 minutes, and the Kings wind up playing their best game of the series in that game, where Sabonis not only had 7 points and 11 rebounds, although the offensive boards were there for Sabonis. 9 of Sabonis' 11 rebounds were on the offensive glass tonight. So those extra possessions, he did have an impact on the game, even though he didn't play much or well overall. But you look at it, and the Kings did make an adjustment. They were the more physical team. They were the more forceful team. And they put the Warriors on their heels from the jump. And now the Warriors will remain on their heels until tip-off at 12:40 in Sacramento on Sunday. Bad game for Jordan Poole. I mean, an absolutely brutal, horrific game for Jordan Poole. Minus 14, 2 of 11. I mean, every time he tried to make a drive to the basket, it felt like he was going to lose the ball or he was going to trick the layup, and he was just scattered everywhere. Kings also hunting him defensively, I thought, at times. And Sacramento, it just looked like the younger, more energetic team, which shouldn't maybe have been a surprise, but it still was a little bit galling to see and jaw-dropping to see, based on the fact that this was the closeout game with the team that's the defending champions, and the Warriors had been so successful in all these different iterations as far as being able to finish teams off when they have them on the ropes, as the Warriors had the Kings on the ropes coming off the win on Wednesday. So brutal Jordan Poole game. Steph Curry was trying to keep him in it, but he did not play well. He looked tired. Andrew Wiggins, awful tonight. A bad and low-efficient Andrew Wiggins game, 5 of 13, shooting the ball. And the Warriors really had an issue of playables in this game tonight. Dante DiVincenzo did some positive things defensively, but had a couple of turnovers and couldn't make a shot, which makes it all the more difficult. Not a great Draymond Green game. It was just kind of an all-systems-fail night, and at times it felt like, hey, the Warriors are hanging around, and you're feeling good about the Warriors' ability to hang around. Hey, if they can get on a run and get the game tied or maybe get ahead by a couple of points, maybe they can figure out a way to navigate themselves to the finish line. But tonight, it was just not meant to be. Credit to the Kings, and I don't know what was going on with the Warriors, whether they thought they had this thing locked up and could just show up and the Kings were going to quit. But if you've watched Sacramento play this season, all due respect to them, that's not the kind of team that they've been. And they certainly haven't been that kind of team in this series against the Golden State Warriors. So 888-957-9570. Warriors wrap up. John Dickinson. We got full phone lines. I want to hear from you here. We'll keep this thing rolling until 10 o'clock. If you're out in the area, stop by Harmonic at Thrive City and say hi. We'll hear from Steve Kerr and some of the Warriors players here on Warriors Wrap-Up. But let's get it started with Gary in Oakland up first here tonight on 95.7 The Game. What's going on, Gary?
Hey, guys, just driving home from the game, season ticket holder, and I actually went to the game up in Sac on Wednesday. Anybody who thought this was a lock has not been paying attention to this Warrior team this year. When have they won 4 games in a row? I think that's zero times this season.
They did win 5 in a row at one point at home around Christmas, but that's irrelevant at this point. It's been every time it's looked, Gary, as if they were about to get on a run or put somebody away. They haven't done it, and they've made life more difficult on themselves. So continue your phone call, Gary.
No, so they've been. You never know which team's going to show up this season, and they've had a really hard time maintaining their focus and their energy for 48 minutes, and they're so good that sometimes 20 minutes is enough.
Yeah, sometimes. Well, not this year. It hasn't. And thanks for the call, Gary. This team just doesn't have the margin for error, and their big streaks, their hot streaks, don't go quite as far. I mean, the Warriors have had to play some exceptional basketball over the last 3 games, and really the last 2 in particular, to just be in position late in the game to have a chance to win. The Kings are still right there with them in these games where Curry's making all of these Steph playoff MVP-type shots, and Klay Thompson's hitting tough fall-away jumpers from the corner with the crowd going crazy. And all of this is adding up to a couple of close wins. They won by 1 point on Sunday. They won by 7 points on Wednesday. And tonight was just, woof tonight. And the Kings keep coming. And again, if you didn't think the Kings were going to keep coming, then shame on you. Because I know the tenor of the whole radio station today had been like Sacramento was going to show up and this was going to be a funeral and the Warriors were just going to breathe on them at the opening tip, and that was going to be the end of the night. And to me, I don't know if the Warriors were thinking that or whether the Warriors just got beat. But either way, it was an impressive effort for Sacramento and a brutal one for Golden State. Coach in Los Altos next here on Warriors Wrap-Up. What's up, Coach?
JD, I'm just coming home from the game. I tweeted out that and actually texted my family. I said, if you think you can just show up and win, you are absolutely going to get your clock cleaned. And that's exactly what happened tonight. From the first minute, I had courtside seats, beautiful seats. I'm watching this thing, and Curry is lackadaisical. The effort was lackadaisical. I think these guys just thought, we're in Chase Center. We can show up and we can win. And they played like crap, all of them. There was no effort. And what I said is, you know what? There may be smarter people than you. There may be more talented people than you, but nobody can outwork you. And they got outworked. I still think the Warriors are a better team. And I don't think it's old. You comment on old. I think it was effort, attitude, grit. They didn't have any of that tonight. They were terrible. And they're going to get their clock cleaned Sunday if they don't come in and say, you know what? We need to show up. We need to want to. We need to get it more than they do. Because tonight was listless. It was awful. So I'm trying to buy tickets right now in Golden. I want to be there because this is going to tell me if the dynasty's over. Man up, want this, and get after it. Because they can beat this team, but tonight they just thought, I'm going to walk on the court. I'm the world champions. I'm at Chase Center, and you're going to wilt. And these guys aren't going to wilt.
No, thanks, Coach. No, they're not going to wilt. And you're right. If the Warriors came on and played like they thought all they had to do was show up and win, or show up and play like they had already won the series, then shame on them. The question that I have, and here's the thing I don't know, was it no effort, or did they just not have it in the tank? And that's the part where maybe Sunday tells the story, and we'll see, because the Warriors did look a little slow. The Warriors did look a little old. They did get outworked. There was effort and attitude and grit that was there for Sacramento that wasn't there for the Warriors in this one, that had been there for these last 3 games. So I don't know if it was a let-up. I don't know if it was the Kings were desperate. Maybe a combination of the two. But when you look at it, the Warriors are going to have to be a lot better. And here's the thing. The Warriors now have put themselves in a position where they can be a lot better on Sunday and still get beat, because we've seen the Warriors play better in this series and have to hang on for dear life to be able to win against this young, up-and-coming Sacramento team that's relentless, really, in terms of the offensive pressure that they put on. And tonight, they put some defensive pressure on the Warriors that really we hadn't seen since Game 1 and 2 in Sacramento. Adam in San Jose next, 888-957-9570. Adam, you're on Warriors Wrap-Up with John Dickinson here on 95.7 The Game. What's going on tonight, Adam?
JD, I'm on my way to the emergency room because my blood pressure skyrocketed after watching Jordan Poole, man. On a serious note, I don't think Steph has ever seen a better defender than in his career than Davion Mitchell. Although he's still scoring his 30, 32 points a game, he's not able to give us one of those heroic performances because Davion honestly has him locked up. And then Clay immediately began chucking, hoping he can prove another Game 6 Clay. And Jordan Poole, man. Jordan Poole, he's being clowned all over social media right now for all the decisions he's making. I've been saying we need to get rid of him all season, this offseason, but even yourself said that we need him for when Curry's not available. If we do not get rid of Jordan Poole this offseason and we do not pass the first round, I don't know if I can say I support the Warriors anymore. Thank you.
Thanks for the call. Look, that's an off-season conversation. We got to see how this thing ends. Do the Warriors win on Sunday and go on and lose to somebody else? Do they lose on Sunday? I mean, it's how it ends matters as far as that goes. And yes, I have made the point that Poole has been a much better player when he's either filling in for Steph Curry and or filling in for Klay Thompson, and the Warriors have been able to win games in the regular season when he's been in that role in each of the last couple of years. That's completely irrelevant on Friday night, April 28th, with Game 7 of the Western Conference first round coming up here over the course of the next 40 hours. Like, that's irrelevant right now. But it is something that should be set aside at this point and revisited at the point in which we know how this Warrior season ends. Davion Mitchell's done a great job at making Steph Curry work. And I'll tell you what else the Kings did to Steph tonight was they really tried to make him work defensively. And Curry, I don't think got crushed defensively, but they tried to wear him down by going smaller and really trying to attack him and make him guard and take his legs. And look, Curry didn't have a great game, 9 of 21 and 20, but he was trying to keep him in. I mean, Curry tonight was the least of the Warriors' problems, even on a night which wasn't a great night for him. But yeah, Jordan Poole was awful. I mean, flat out, Jordan Poole was awful. They need Jordan Poole to play in this series and play as he has, even when he hasn't shot the ball well, because they need the secondary ball handler. But tonight it was missed layups. Tonight it was falling down. Tonight it was kicking the ball out of bounds. Like, it was just all bad tonight for Jordan Poole. And now Steve Kerr's got a question because he's got to look around at who's playable and who's not. How much of tonight was the Warriors didn't bring the proper intensity versus how much of tonight was the Warriors were tired versus how much of tonight impacts who plays or doesn't play in Game 7, or you just chalking it up to it was a bad night for a couple of different players and they're going to play a lot better because the Warriors are going to need them to play a lot better on Sunday? That's the question, because I know a lot of Warrior fans right now are done with Jordan Poole based on the way he played tonight. And I get it. I really do. But, I'm reading the Comcast business text line, and the answer isn't play Kuminga instead of Jordan Poole. Now, the answer may be play Moses Moody a little bit more, to be perfectly honest, because he's now looked pretty good in each of the games, really going back to Game 2. And I've said this a lot, steady beats Sacramento. The Warriors were not steady tonight. They were frantic. I agree with Adam wholeheartedly on Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson looked like he had – you know what Klay Thompson looked like today? Klay Thompson tonight played like a dude who sat in his house all day and thought, Game 6 Klay, Game 6 Klay, Game 6 Klay, Game 6 Klay. I'm gonna hit 12 threes. I'm gonna come out and I'm hunting, and it's gonna be Game 6 Klay, Game 6 Klay, Game 6 Klay. And it was a bad temperament game for Klay Thompson. It was 8-20. And, the Warriors got down. Things weren't flowing. They'd get a couple stops. They'd make a run. And then every time they'd make a run, they either couldn't get a rebound, they would kick the ball out of bounds or throw it away, or they would take a horrific shot and miss, or miss a layup. They also missed a lot of layups tonight. A lot of layups that they were hitting in Game 5 that they needed to hit weren't going down tonight. But this was a bad Klay game. And you know what? History in Game 6 aside, and what he did in Oklahoma City and other clinching big games for the Warriors, Klay was probably due for a bad game, because that's the Klay Thompson that he's been this season. It's been steady, solid, really good, awful. Every 4 or 5 games there's an awful one. I know Klay, looking at the way he performed tonight, will be thinking about it, taking it in the mirror, and want to come back and fight and scratch and claw and be a champion and show the champion's blood in Sacramento on Sunday afternoon. But he didn't have it tonight either. And it was a night where, the Warriors shoot 37%, 10 of 32 from three. They didn't take a lot of threes because they were getting inside, but they weren't hitting inside. And I had the number here just looking through it as far as the shooting, and the Warriors were 18 of 46 in the paint. Only 36 points in the paint. 18 of 46, 39.1% in the paint for the Warriors tonight. They missed layups. They got shots blocked tonight. And, the Kings had 8 blocked shots. And they were really challenging. Malik Monk had a couple of blocks. Herter had a couple of blocks. Like, collectively, they were challenging the Warriors at the rim much better than we've seen them do at any point in this series. But now it becomes a question of, who do you trust? And how much of the bad tonight do you chalk up as one night versus having to make these wholesale changes? Because I'll be honest, as bad as tonight was, and we can lay out all of the different players who weren't good tonight, and Kevon Looney was bad tonight after being the hero of the series for the Warriors, I'm still probably leaning towards sticking with the same 7 or 8 players that helped the Warriors win the 3 games that they've won in this series, even if those players didn't exactly play well tonight. That, though, is Steve Kerr's ultimate question, and I get a lot of Warrior fans out there that think, hey, wholesale changes need to come on Sunday. Here's what I know, and I want to hear from you at 888-957-9570. What I know is I'm trusting Steph Curry in a Game 7. I'm trusting Klay Thompson in a Game 7. I'm trusting Draymond Green in a Game 7. I'm trusting Andrew Wiggins in a Game 7. I'm trusting Kevon Looney in a Game 7, along with Gary Payton II, and probably Dante DiVincenzo, although to a less extent than those first 6 players that I named. But I'm trusting them. And if, you know what? If they are not energetic enough or don't have enough in the tank or too tired or whatever it is, then you tip your cap to Sacramento and you tell them, hey, they won the series and they earned it. That's just the reality. But I'm more apt to trust those 7 plus Moses Moody, who's earned the right, I think, to play in the Game 7 based on the way he's played these last 4 games. I'm trusting those guys rather than thinking that you got to make wholesale changes just because tonight blew up in your face in an ugly, ugly way. 888-957-9570. Full phone lines. EJ in Oakland next here on 95.7 The Game. What's going on, EJ?
Hey, JD. Thanks for taking my call, man. You actually spoke to a couple of the things I was thinking about. Dude, I don't want to be so negative. That was the worst playoff game we have had since Steph has been here. We looked entitled. We looked lazy. We looked old and slow, as you said. And I feel like that is why we have Jordan Poole on the roster. We pay him to be the spark plug, to be the quick twitch guy to get us going, and he did not have it tonight. And I'm having an existential crisis over here. Klay Thompson wants another max contract. We're paying Poole. I don't even know what we do after this, man. So I know that we saw the Game 7, but that was so bad that I'm having trouble dealing with it. So top me off the ledge, bro.
Well, I think a lot of Warrior fans are, EJ, and thanks for the call. I think a lot of Warrior fans are not used to seeing the big three plus Wiggins and Looney get it handed to them the way that they got it handed to them tonight in a closeout game. It's just the fourth time in the last 10 years the Warriors haven't won a closeout game when they've been at home during this Steve Kerr championship dynastic run. And two of those games were against Cleveland in 2016 in the finals in Game 5 and Game 7. I mean, this is the first time. The other one was 2019 against the Clippers, but that was the Kevin Durant Warriors where you knew, all right, well, they're going to probably go down and win Game 6 in L.A., and if they don't, they'll for sure come back and win Game 7 at Oracle. And so even though they lost that game, you weren't really thinking, oh, wow, this is trouble. You were thinking, well, whatever. They just tricked one away. They're by far the better team, and they're going to win. And they went down to L.A., and they won in 6, and that was it. And so that one almost, in a way, doesn't count. Tonight was the first time where the Warriors, they needed tonight. They needed to treat tonight like it was an NBA Finals game. And I mentioned that to Willard and Dibbs earlier here on 95.7 The Game. I talked about it on Warriors Live, the fact that the Warriors could not afford to be overconfident against this Kings team that, again, I think too many people haven't seen with regularity over the course of this season. They keep coming in individual games and over the course of this season. To me, it's not a surprise, at least it shouldn't be, that they kept fighting and at least put pressure on the Warriors to have to play a really good game to beat them. And as it turns out, the Warriors played a crappy game and they got beat, and they ended up getting blown out with the way things went in the fourth quarter. All right, Eric, Scott, Manuel, Armand, 888-957-9570. A quick timeout. Secret sauce, hardest working player. It's all coming up. Text messages as well. We're keeping this thing rolling until 10. It's John Dickinson. Kings win it, 118-99 right here at 95.7 The Game.
Now back to Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game.
All right, welcome back into the 9 o'clock hour. It's John Dickinson at Harmonic Brewing outside Chase Center in Thrive City. 888-957-9570. Kings beat the Warriors 118-99. So Game 7 will be on Sunday afternoon in Sacramento, 12:30 tip. Warriors and Kings Game 7 in a series that really has felt destined to go 7 from the jump. And you look at it now at 3-3, top to bottom, and it's a blowout for each team. It's a 2-1 at home for each team, dead even on that note, and each team's won 2 close games. Warriors able to win 1 close one in Sacramento. The Kings able to win 2 close ones in the first 2 in Sacramento. The one thing we know, all 3 of the games in Sacramento have gone right down to the wire, so how could you not expect anything less moving forward here on to Sunday? 888-957-9570. Do you want to get some text messages in here between now and 10 o'clock as we keep things rolling? Secret sauce, also the hardest working player of the game coming up as well. Let's get back to the phones. 888-957-9570. Scott is up next here on Warriors Wrap-Up. What's going on, Scott?
How you doing, John? Thanks for having us on. I got to say, I can't remember a game where our starting 5, maybe rotational players 6 and 7, have played as flat as an aggregate squad as I'd seen tonight. I'm here with my 9-year-old daughter. We were at the game. We're driving home. There's a lot of negativity on the air. I just think that Sunday is going to be a different situation. I think that I've never seen Clay as a duo with Steph play that flat. Frankly, I've never seen the crowd at Chase be that flat. My 9-year-old's here. Kristen, what do you think? I mean, that was just speak up, please.
It was just a very bad game for us. Like, it wasn't a night and Wiggins and Ford, and everyone just played bad. They were, like, so lazy. And
it just wasn't. There wasn't a leader. There wasn't anyone commanding the floor. I also got to say, and I'll end and listen to some commentary, the Kings are not a good defensive playing team during the regular season, and it seems like they played their best defensive game against us tonight, just like they did in Game 2 and 3. And I'd love to hear your comments on the Kings' defense, because why did they show up again in Game 6 on our home court with that defense?
Yeah, I think a lot of it, Scott, and thanks for the call and appreciate the assist there from the youngin'. But the Warriors were flat tonight. I think a lot of it does still have to do with the Warriors and their patience. I've said throughout the course of this series that if the Warriors are patient and get into their offense with zip and make the Kings move around and defend them, they can get a layup line. And tonight they were getting some of that at the rim, but the shots were more challenged tonight. I thought they made Draymond and even Looney look to try to score, only kind of knowing it was coming, and they were rotating defenders back and getting there and just clogging up the lane to a greater extent. And if the Warriors were trying to kick it out, it was almost as if Sacramento knew what was coming, and they were getting in the passing lanes. A lot of deflections in the game tonight. So I think you give Mike Brown credit for recognizing what the Warriors had smoked the Kings with in the last 3 games, really, and even in the first 2 games when the Warriors had been buttoned up enough to get into it. But I think they used the fact that the Warriors were a little bit tired with the 1 day off in between games against them, and they were really packing the paint. And Sabonis, I thought, set a tone in the first 4 or 5 possessions tonight with a couple of blocks, and it was 8-0 Kings, and guys are really rotating around and making an impact. The concerning part is, yes, Sunday, I think everybody would agree, is going to be different. But again, I keep coming back to this. Sunday might be different, and the Warriors might play a lot better, but we've seen what playing a lot better than they did tonight gets them in Sacramento. It gets them up 1 point with 3 minutes to go. It gets them tie game with 2 minutes to go. Are they going to hit enough shots? Are they going to stay disciplined? Are they going to be able to rebound the basketball? All of those things are going to have to happen if the Warriors are going to escape this series and move on to the next round by winning a Game 7 in what will be a hostile and electric environment. Evan, next here on Warriors Wrap-Up. What's going on, Evan?
How you doing? Thanks for taking my call, or I really appreciate it. You know, I was at the game tonight, and it was kind of brutal, guys. It was a little brutal, you know. It wasn't the same Warriors team that we know, and you know the guys are getting old. It's obvious. The guys are getting old, and they need to adjust. They're learning to adjust on the fly. It seems. You know, I got a band. It's called the Live Oaks. We're a local rock and roll band, and we're always getting older at the times, and we got to adjust as we get older. And it seems these guys are learning on the fly, and it's been brutal to kind of watch. You know, I don't know if they're going to make it through Game 7, guys.
Yeah, we'll see. And that's the thing that would give me the most concern going into Game 7 is, to me, if you're Steve Kerr, you have to trust the same guys that won you the 3 games in the middle and not panic and think you have to make wholesale changes on Sunday. But you got to execute better, and you got to bring the zip and the energy and the focus and the determination and the hustle. The Kings out-hustled the Warriors in every single phase of the game, and there were lengthy stretches early where the Kings couldn't hit a shot either. Neither team could hit a shot, and you felt like, oh, my God, how the Warriors are right there in this game. But because the Warriors were so bad offensively, so bad on the boards, so bad eventually fouling the Kings, although the Warriors got to the free throw line 10 more times than the Kings did in this game. You want to know another example of being tired? Missing 10 free throws in 35 attempts in this one. And Steph Curry missing 3 free throws. Jordan Poole missing 2 free throws in this one. Andrew Wiggins, 3 of 6 at the free throw line. Those, to me, are all signs of a team that's really dog tired right now. And they're going to get a shorter turnaround from 6 to 7, which I do think gives Sacramento a pathway to take this series. And that was something we talked about 2 weeks ago. The fact that if this series goes long and these games start getting stacked up on top of each other, the Warriors may find themselves in a position where, as the older team, they're going to have to be able to outlast Sacramento, who is a relentless squad at attacking. And Fox was relentless tonight, 26 points, and an efficient 26. Monk has won the Kings 2 games in this series, 28 points plus 21. Malik Monk was the best player on the floor. Malik Monk and De'Aaron Fox were the best players on the floor. Keegan Murray has found something here after a bad first 3 games over the last 3 games of this series. And he ended up 5 of 17, but he was a plus tonight because he rebounded the basketball, which is something that he hadn't been doing in this series. So the Warriors are going to have to bring it physically, but also bring it in terms of their ability to be disciplined and execute offensively, because I do think that is what this series boils down to in a Game 7 if the Warriors are going to be able to win it. 888-957-9570, Armand in San Jose next year on Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game. Hey, Armand.
Hey, what's going on, JD?
What's up, man?
You know, you guys have made a lot of really good points. I think the 5 p.m. start is always kind of a bad omen for whatever reason. You know, it's just like that. But what I will say is we didn't play smart. And I don't know if you've noticed this, JD. I think all 3 games that we've lost, I think our first possession was a turnover. Didn't we turn the ball over our first possession today?
Yes.
For
You're
whatever
absolutely
reason,
right.
Yeah. It just, to me, and you know, like, it's only the first possession, so, you know, it should never be the telltale. But it does kind of seem like they start that way sloppy. They do something stupid. It just shows, like, a lack of focus, like, okay, it's going to be that kind of night. That's the feeling I get when they start off sloppy like that. Sacramento didn't play a great game. They just out-hustled the Warriors. It's really that simple. They did not shoot the ball well, but they rebounded, got the loose balls. They made threes and got hot at the right time, and the Warriors couldn't keep up. We still have not had a game where we really just kicked butt from the 3. And I believe we definitely need to do that Sunday. I don't think attacking the rim is just good enough. We do need to get back to that. But Sacramento going small, I think they figured something out. And Mike Brown is just saying, I don't care if they score, they miss, just run. They cannot keep up with you. Even if they score, they can't get back on defense. I can't count how many times when we would score and De'Aaron Fox is just like a running back weaving in the open field, scoring a touchdown. So we've got to figure out something like that. But one way to slow the Kings down, obviously we got to defend a little bit better. But JD, we have to have a game where we just kick butt from the three. You just got to do it. You got too many guys who can make the three that I feel have been inconsistent and underperformed to where it's hard to win a series when one of the things you don't do best, you've been mediocre at best. We just got to be honest about that. And then aside
no
from
doubt.
that, not talk. Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and the Kings had been able to say the same thing really until tonight, and they didn't shoot 40%, but they, in terms of volume, they hit 17 of them tonight, which was their best game of the series, and they got the Warriors by 21 points from the three, and so they were able to win it doing it that way tonight. Thanks, Armand. Appreciate you. A lot of great points there. 888-957-9570 here on Warriors Wrap-Up. Kings beat the Warriors 118-99, so the series is tied at 3 games apiece. Game 7 on Sunday back in Sacramento. And look, the Warriors did not play smart. There was a lack of focus. Sac did not play a great game. They really did not, but they did out-hustle the Warriors. They worked their way into their flow. And, the Kings were a little tight or loose, they were tight, but they were missing shots, but they were getting the rebound. They were getting enough stops. The Warriors were turning the ball over. All of these things were happening. And so the Kings had extra time, extra possessions to work themselves into getting a little bit of a lead, and then they got in their flow. Where Fox, when he needed a big, take somebody off the dribble, get into the lane and score, he was able to. Monk, able to do the same thing. The Warriors, able to they were able to draw and kick. The Warriors were spread out defensively tonight because of the dribble penetration. And so when Fox or Monk weren't getting all the way to the rim to lay it in, they were kicking out. The Warriors' defense was in scramble mode, and Herter and Keegan Murray and others were getting wide open rhythm three-pointers, and more of them than they had been getting in this series. They also knocked down more of them than they had been at any point in this series. And Armand, you're right. The Warriors' night, as far as those, or afternoon, because they're going to be playing on Sunday, is due to come, but it was also due to come for Sacramento, and they finally hit it, and so we'll see. The team, that was kind of one of my thoughts coming in. It's like, well, if the Kings don't have one of those games, they're probably getting beat. Well, they had one of those games. If the Warriors don't have one of those games, in addition to the hustle and the intensity and the poise and the discipline, then they aren't going to win the game unless they're able to do that. 888-957-9570. Tony in Alameda next year on Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game. Hey, Tony.
Hey, JD, thank you for taking my call. Hello?
Yep.
JD, hi.
I got you, Tony.
You got me?
I got you loud and clear, brother.
Yes. Hey, I want to start off with right now is this. The Sacramento didn't beat us. It's the Warriors that beat us, actually. The Warriors didn't do what they're supposed to do, okay? All right. From the get-go, I'm looking at it. We look so ugly in the get-go, okay? Why do we feed the ball to Looney down below under the rim? Okay, he's not a scorer down below. He's not a rim scorer, okay? He's a good rebounder, block, all that stuff. We had turnovers right away, the first 3 minutes. We had turnovers there because of Rooney, okay? Right. He's good on defensively, offensively, rebound, okay? We should not even give the ball to him, okay? For one thing, Green also, German Green, 4 points and 4 rebounds. Okay, that's one of the reasons that's why we lost. And it's not about just one person. It's everybody's collectively. It's their fault. So I'm looking at it at the next game. Everybody's going to be contributing, okay? And I don't know, the lineup tonight is so ugly. I don't get it. Don't be amazed if we have Green starting the next game, the 7th game.
Yeah.
Believe me, we'll get the next game. Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Tony. I do think Draymond Green is going to start the next game. I agree with you on that. I think Jordan Poole goes back to the bench, and then they're going to have to pick between Jordan Poole and Dante DiVincenzo, but the Warriors have had problems with the Kings being able to guard them when they've played Draymond and Looney together. So we'll see what the Warriors ultimately decide to do between now and 12:30 on Sunday afternoon. But I would agree that they probably can't afford, now that they've been beaten, to not have Draymond out there at the beginning of the game, because they just need his his defense and his hustle and his playmaking and his championship-level big game acumen that you would expect in a Game 7. Because that is the one area, at least going into Game 7, where the younger team versus the experienced team and the champion's blood and all of that, even on the road, it gives the Warriors a little bit of an advantage before they actually start playing. And it does give the Warriors a little bit of an advantage if it's a close game potentially down the stretch that offsets maybe some of Sacramento's advantage from being the home team and the Warriors being terrible this season away from Chase Center. But regardless, the Warriors are going to have to play a lot better, and the key question is not going to be, does Draymond start? That's one part of it, but it's who's going to play. And does there need to be wholesale changes between tonight and Sunday, or do you have to ride with the guys that you've been able to trust for the most amount of minutes in this series and just throw tonight out as bad game, team was tired, move on to the next? And I got to believe Steve Kerr's going to trust the same players that he has that have earned the Warriors the 3 wins in this series, and I think that's the starters. With Draymond in there, it's Poole, as bad as he was tonight, and maybe it's a short leash game for Poole in Game 7, but I think you got to trust Jordan Poole to have a bounce-back game, but have a quicker hook, and maybe you go to DiVincenzo more. I think you trust Payton. And look, I think Moody's earned the opportunity. Moody has played extremely poised in this series, so I think Moody should get some time in Game 7. He tends to play like a guy that's wise beyond his years in the playoffs. But again, beyond the playoffs and whether he should have been playing more in the regular season and all of that, he's looked the part in this series against these players, which I think is a huge part of the deal. Eric in Oakland next on 95.7 The Game. What's up, E?
Hey, what's up, man? Can you hear me?
I got you loud and clear, Eric. How you doing tonight?
Hey,
yep, I got you, Eric.
Man, well, I'm okay except for the Warriors game. I mean, man, that was the most lethargic performance from start to finish that I've seen the Warriors play in a long time.
Hey, Eric, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Eric, and I'll let you finish your call. Them being lethargic tonight, you think tonight was more lethargic because they weren't into it or thought they had it won, or was tonight lethargic because one day in between games and they're kind of spent and they're getting a little older and it makes you worry about Sunday?
I think the first part. I think they thought they were just going to walk on the Chase Center, and I think they thought they had the game won just by showing up. I mean, these are professionals. These are pros. I mean, they didn't play good. I mean, there was no hustle. I mean, nobody going out to lose balls. Nobody positioned themselves to get rebounds. It's bad enough we don't have a solid big man that can change shots when Fox and Monk drive to the hole with ease. It's almost like they can't be stopped driving to the hole. And then I don't know what to say about Jordan Poole. I mean, man, when he's on, he's on, but when he's bad, he's horrible. And DiVincenzo didn't have a good game either. And I'll add this.
No.
I'm not comfortable with. I don't like the idea of Curry. He's shuffling guys in and out like he's trying to find something, but I think he's subbing Curry out to Curry. I don't like the idea of Curry coming out the game so soon. That he's the first one out the game. This chess match that he's playing with Coach Brown, when Brown takes Fox out, he takes Curry out. I don't think that's a good idea because it's backfiring on him. I'll take your comments.
Well, it backfired tonight. It didn't backfire, Eric, in the last 3 games. In fact, it helped the Warriors win the last 3 games. But all of these series, especially as they go deep, become chess matches. And, Steve Kerr had found some things on Sacramento, and the people in Sacramento were starting to wonder if maybe Kerr had figured it out and Mike Brown wasn't going to be able to readjust. Well, Mike Brown had a great game tonight, and they were able to readjust. And the Comcast Business text line points it out. 408, they attacked Looney the way the Warriors attacked Sabonis. And that's exactly what they did. And so, you give them credit, but they held up physically on the interior at a level that they hadn't been able to hold up at any point in this series. I mean, anytime the Warriors have been able to attack or move the ball to the baseline and drive and drop it off to somebody for a layup, it's been right there for them. And so I do think the Warriors, to the 510's point on the Comcast Business text line, rushed They had gone into defenders and kicked. Tonight, they would go 1-on-5. Like if rather than get into some uneven type situations in these last couple of games, the Warriors were much more patient. Tonight they tried to attack, and the defense was able to collapse on them, which was really problematic and a key to a lot of these turnovers that the Warriors had. So 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. How you feeling about Game 7? It's 12:30. It's a quick turnaround. It's right here on 95.7 The Game as well. All right, let's go ahead and pause. We'll get David. We'll get Charlie. I do want to get the secret sauce of the game in here, though, before we take a break. And it is, as always, the secret sauce of the game, which is brought to you by Proposition Chicken. Fried, flipped, and fake. Chicken goes 3 different ways, and you can find Proposition Chicken here as I find for my Proposition Chicken read. You can go online to propositionchicken.com. You can also order at any of the 9 Bay Area locations or at propositionchicken.com. Secret sauce of the game. And tonight it was the Warriors getting outworked. They looked slow from the jump. They were sloppy. The Kings hit them on the boards. The Kings were the faster, quicker, looser team. And the Warriors find themselves in big trouble in this one as it was. Just look at the shot attempts. 99 for the Kings, 85 for the Warriors, and that tells the story on a night where Sacramento able to beat the Warriors despite only shooting 40.4% from the game. Warriors at 37.6, and the Kings end up winning this one 118-99 inside Chase Center to even up the series at 3 games apiece. Again, secret sauce, Proposition Chicken, 3 ways, fried, flipped, and fake. Available in 9 Bay Area locations, or you can order now, propositionchicken.com. We'll pause here. We'll come back. 888-957-9570. Another segment. Warriors wrap up as we head to a Game 7 right here on 95.7 The Game.
Buzzer sounds. Ball game's over. 118 to 99. The Kings celebrating their win. And we go back to Sacramento for Game 7. And we'll see if the Warriors can come up with a championship-like performance on Sunday.
Now back to Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game.
All right, back here, final segment, 888-957-9570. Kings beat the Warriors 118 to 99, so it heads to a Game 7, and we'll have it for you right here on 95.7 The Game, as this series is now tied at 3 apiece. Kings come in to chase in a closeout game, and they hit the Warriors right in the mouth, and the Warriors with no answer, not a lot of margin for error. And the Warriors played sluggishly. The Kings played energetically, backs against the wall, and hit the Warriors at the point of attack. Fox and Monk kind of doing whatever they wanted. Sabonis on the boards. Warriors took some bad shots, turned it over a lot, couldn't hit their layups. And that's pretty much the story of game number 6 in this one, as the Kings win it, and deservedly so. So this thing heads back to Sacramento. Warriors and the Kings playing Game 7 here on Sunday afternoon. Let's keep it rolling. 888-957-9570. Back to the phones. David and San Leandro here on Warriors Wrap-Up. What's up, David?
JD, I'm a big fan. I love and respect you. I got 3 quick points if I can get them in. One.
Okay, you got it.
They were sluggish and old and all that, games 1 and 2. And then made adjustments 3, 4, 5, and I don't have the stats in front of me. How many times have the Warriors this season won 4 games in a row? Like they just have those dud, can't explain it, throw the tape out the window games, and I'm thinking that's what this game was. So I'm feeling good about Game 7. We're going to go up to the Golden Warriors Center in Sacramento and win Game 7. That's my first point. Second point, there was a caller earlier. I'm going after a caller. He said he would stop being a Warrior fan if the Warriors didn't trade Jordan Poole. Whoever that caller is, don't watch Game 7. Stop watching the Warriors. We don't want you. We don't need you. If we keep Jordan Poole, please just root for another team. Point 3.
Okay. Number 3. What do you got, David? No, you got it. What do you got?
I'm coming down your road, JD. I've interacted with you 3 times. You're a villain to me. Number 1, you cost me $1,200 on a 95.7 contest one time. I blame Steiny. You cut the cord on me, I heard. That's strike 1.
Okay.
Strike 2, I was at Chase Center. I met Whitey, you, and Jim Barnett, the great Jim Barnett. You big-timed me. It's all good. I still love you.
No way I big-timed you. Now, that I don't believe. But go ahead. Number 3.
Big-timed me. Whitey said, hey, how you doing, JB? Oh, shook my hand. You were looking down, and it was, you big-timed me. And
okay. Appreciate it, David. Oh, we hung. No, I wanted to hear David.
You are rooting for the Kings to win this series.
No.
You're a Sacktown boy. The Warriors have been great to you. I'm not saying they're rooting against the Warriors. I think you might take pleasure in the Kings taking down the Warriors. I love you, JD. I love the Warriors.
Appreciate it, David.
95.7. Go Warriors.
Yeah, the last one, not true. I can tell you that one point blank. The last one, not true. I'm 99.9% sure I didn't big time you either, David. But I'm with you as far as the other. I can't even remember what the other point was. But yeah, I'll take on all comers here. It's all good. You can come at me. Warrior fans are feeling a certain way now with this series tied at 3-3 and the way things shook out tonight. But no, I am. You know, it's funny. I was just talking to Steiny here a little bit earlier about how, you know, I feel like I've been the one objective voice of reason in this series that hasn't gotten all caught up either way in the, you know, fan-ish behavior that has been such a subhead of this series to this point. Charlie is next here on Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game. Hey, Charlie.
Hey, Hey, JD, what's going on, buddy? Just a couple of quick points regarding. I thought the quick turnaround from Wednesday to Friday would have been a potential issue, and the Warriors looked old and slow tonight, and that concerns me for Game 7 because it's a less of a turnaround time. Secondly, I agree with you. I don't know if they will. I think Draymond needs to be back in the starting lineup. Reiterate what you said and Steiny during today. Slow and steady beats the Kings, and I'm not going to bash Jordan Poole. We have all off season to do that, but he is the antithesis of slow and steady. The dude looks like he's playing on ice, and when he's off, he is way off. But I'm not confident about Sunday because the quick turnaround time is just concerning to me, and I agree with your point. It's almost as if Clay was sitting home today saying, it's going to be Game 6 Clay. Game 6 Clay, I'm going to come out there and hit 8 3-pointers. And Clay was terrible tonight. And but what are your thoughts about Draymond potentially getting back into the starting lineup, even if it's him and Looney on the court at the same time?
I think they're going to have to, at least at the beginning of the game. And we talked about this in the lead up to Game 4 when the Warriors were trying to make the decision as to what they were going to do. And I said it. I mean, I thought Draymond would go in and volunteer to come off the bench. But I also think they didn't necessarily have to do it that way. Now, they did it that way and it worked, and so they kept it going, and then they kept it going again. And then tonight it was a different story. I think they need Draymond's intensity and intelligence and ability to be a winner on the floor from the jump in a Game 7. Like, part of the Warriors' advantages going into Game 7 is the experience. And Looney and Draymond both are part of that. And you trust Draymond at this point more than you trust Jordan Poole to just be making winning plays from the opening tap at 12:40 in what will be a raucous environment in Sacramento. So, I think you start Draymond, and you're going to have to separate him and Looney still. But how Steve Kerr goes about doing that, I think, is going to be a big part of the story of Game 7. And can the Warriors find enough players off the bench that can come in and that can contribute to winning? Because they're going to need Jordan Poole. Even though Jordan Poole was bad in this game tonight, they're going to need him to come out, and they're going to need him to play better than he did tonight. They're going to need him to be even what he was in Game 5, which wasn't great, was exponentially better than the Jordan Poole they got tonight. They're going to need DiVincenzo to play some minutes. They're going to need Peyton to play some minutes. They're going to need Moses Moody to play some minutes in a Game 7 when he's barely played for the most part all season long. But it's about the trustables, and that's the one area where I don't think Steve Kerr should necessarily panic, and that is with trying to go deeper or different into this rotation in Game 7. To me, the 8 or 9 that you've been able to play in this series throughout. It's not a time for hasty decisions. It's just, hey, here are my guys. Are they good enough or not? And if they're not, then you tip your cap and you head to the offseason and you start to reevaluate where this franchise goes from here. But the one thing you don't want to do is overthink it to a point where you're trying and searching and reaching for something in that Game 7. Alan San Leandro next here on Warriors Wrap-Up. What's going on, Al?
Thank you for taking my call. Listen, I know we're going to the 7th game, but I'll be honest with you, we're going to win the 7th game. I know the lineup tonight is very, very difficult for Steve Kerr, but I did not like what's going on there. How could you lose when Sabonis is sitting down on the third quarter? Okay, we didn't take advantage of that. I think he's better off playing in the floor. We play more aggressive when he's playing there. I noticed because Looney, he's quiet tonight. Okay, and Green, he's quiet also. Actually, the whole team is quiet. We don't have the energy that we had the last 3 games that we won 3 in a row. There's something there is missing. Okay, the energetic, there's no spark plug in there. But believe me, the 7th game, there's going to be a change there. Okay, DiVincenzo, he's going to start, and Green is going to start. Okay, That's the bottom line there. Because tonight, there's no energy at all. I'm sorry. We were close there. We were like behind 8 points, 6 points, 10 points, and suddenly got blown out. It's the lineup, and Steve Kerr will juggle that out. I'm pretty sure we will get this 7th game. Thank you for taking my call.
Thanks, Al. You bring up another scenario as to do they now put Looney on the bench in Game 7 and start Draymond at center? Now, Draymond was in foul trouble tonight, which was problematic for the Warriors in this game. He ended up with 5 fouls. Sabonis ended up fouling out of the game. There were a number of different players in foul trouble, but that is another way the Warriors go, and I do think that is one of the headlines, and talking points as we get toward Sunday, which is going to come really fast. And it's the fact that, do you go with DiVincenzo and Draymond? Do you go with Looney and Draymond? Do you start Poole again? I think the Warriors probably can't do that now, given how bad he was and the fact that you want Draymond's stability on the court. But the truth is, if you go Draymond and Looney, that's made you more guardable in this series. And beyond that, it's always more important who's going to play the bulk of the minutes as opposed to who starts and who finishes the game as well. And the 510 points it out, and I think this is right on the money. It's a do-or-die game. The 5 starters need to prepare to play 45, and GP2 and Poole and DiVincenzo going to play a fraction. And, maybe not 45, but maybe 43. I don't think there's much doubt about that moving forward here toward Game 7. 408 also pointing out that Mike Brown made the adjustment on Clay. Clay, they got him off the three-point line. They doubled him and kind of threw some different looks at him as well. And so I think that, they did have an adjustment for Clay, but Clay came out and it was, as somebody pointed out earlier, it was the bad Clay tonight. It really was. It was the shot hunting, gonna take some bad shots and nothing matters. I'm gonna come chuck it, Clay. He was not good tonight, and those games have been here every handful of games, and the Warriors are going to – look, if the Warriors have no shot Sunday unless they get a Game 5 Steph performance, a Game 5 Clay performance, a Game 5 Looney performance, like they're going to need all of their guys to play big. Now, it may not be 20 or more for the top 4, but they're going to need all those guys to – just look at the way they were able to get the win on Wednesday in Sacramento. Steph, it was the top 4 scorers all over 20, and then it was a lot of positive minutes from Gary Payton II as well. All right, 888-957-9570. Rob in Daly City next here on Warriors Wrap Up. What's up, Rob?
Hey, JD, look.
What's up, man?
This team tonight, in my opinion, looked a little tired. I mean, they put up 3 tremendous games where they won those games, and they looked a little gassed out. They were out of gas. The team is showing a little bit of its age. That's my opinion. If they lose Game 7 on Sunday, it's probably they're just getting older. People have got to realize that fact, this team has had a great run, and they may be starting to peak down. Everybody had a bad game. Okay, I hear that from everybody calling in tonight. But they're going to bounce back, and I think on Sunday, this is my prediction, they're going to come out, and they're going to play a game that's going to be a hell of a lot better than the effort that they put forth tonight. I'm not going to say they're going to win. They may lose, but even if they lose, it's going to be a really, really close game. Maybe 1 point, maybe 3 or 6 points, but it's going to be close, and the effort will be there. What the heck does everybody get down on Poole? He had a bad game. Okay, he's going to bounce back. He's been pretty valuable to this team during the season. And remember, I think we can all agree that the playoffs are an entirely different species than the regular season.
No doubt.
Everything is different on the playoffs. You throw out the entire regular season. The playoffs are completely different.
No, they are. There's no doubt the playoffs are completely different. And look, as bad as Poole was, as much as he may need to play less than he did tonight, if he's going to be as ineffective or close to ineffective or looks like he might be as ineffective early as he was tonight, he definitely has to be in the rotation coming up on Sunday afternoon. And, he is still one of the trustables. And, yeah, I think this is going to be a test on Sunday of the Warriors championship pedigree. It wasn't there tonight. I also said to a few people pregame that the Warriors this season, when they've had a little bit of breathing room, when they haven't completely had their backs against the wall for whatever reason, they also haven't showed up with the same forcefulness. And I don't know what and why the Warriors wouldn't value needing to win this game like it was a Game 7 to avoid having to actually play a Game 7 on the road when they've been so bad on the road and just barely eked one out in a great game on Wednesday night. But that's been the nature of this team this year. Every time it looks like they're about to turn the corner, they don't. And then when their backs are against the wall, they pull it out. And so in some ways, the fact that this series is going 7 games is apropos of this entire season that the Warriors have played to this point. But now they've put themselves in a position where they could go play a really good game and still get beat if a couple of different plays go against them in Game 1 and Game 2 like they did, versus where a couple of key plays went in their favor in Game 4 and Game 5, and they were able to win those. 888-957-9570. Let's keep it rolling here. I do want to get to a couple of more callers, but I do also want to get to the hardest working player of the game, which is brought to you by AC Transit. Yeah, Moses Moody was good tonight, and Moses Moody's been good in this series, and Moses Moody looks like somebody that should, if you're trying to take away some minutes from somebody to add some minutes to somebody else, Moses Moody might be somebody that's looking to get more minutes in Game 7 than he even had tonight. One of 2 players for the Warriors that were a positive in the plus-minus. Only DiVincenzo, who didn't shoot it well, and Moody, who was 3 of 5 and knocked down a 3, went to the free throw line, and Moody was at 9 points and was a +5. Like, he was one of the better Warrior players on the floor tonight. He might have been their best player on the floor tonight, Moses Moody, aside from Stephen Curry. So he's, I think, in the rotation as you start pencil in who do you trust guys for Game 7. He's also your hardest working player of the game for tonight, brought to you by AC Transit. AC Transit, looking for hard workers, offering a $2,000 bonus for new bus operators and journey-level mechanics. To join their team, for complete details and to apply, visit actransit.org/careers. That's actransit.org/careers. All right, we got about 6 minutes to go here. 888-957-9570. I want to go rapid fire and let everybody speak their piece between now and the time we get out of here at 10 o'clock. So let's keep it rolling. We got 4 guys on the line. Let's roll with that guy. That guy is up next here on Warriors Wrap-Up. What's going on, that guy?
Hey, JD, I appreciate you taking my call, man. Don't listen to that one guy. I think he had a little bit too much to drink that was calling you a Kings fan. But just real fast, brother. You know, I watching this, I was at the game, and so watching this, it just looked like the Warriors thought they had one in their back pocket. Like you were saying, I echo what you were saying earlier. The other 3 games that they won, they were pretty much must-wins. You can't go down 0-3. You can't go down 3-1. And you can't go down 2-3 and have to win them both. But tonight looked like they were, you know, they knew, okay, if we lose, we'll bring it out to Sac and we can put it together for one game and let the fury go. So it looked like, and just, you know, the rotation, I'll be quick here. The rotation, Steve Kerr, I was hoping he'd play that. I told the guy that I went with, I was hoping he'd play this game as if it was a 7. Like, you don't have it tomorrow. Like, go stick to a 7-8-man rotation. And now that we saw Draymond start or sit the bench for 3, maybe it's time to start him tonight. This was before the game because Brown, he was waiting to see what Steve was going to do. And if Draymond was not going to start, he already had a game plan. So I think he should have flipped the script tonight and started Draymond. And then going forward, what do you think of just going with 7, 8 men? Appreciate it. Thanks, JD.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I think for the most part the Warriors did that tonight. I mean, I guess technically they went with 9, but, if you're only going to go with 7, then who's not going to play? Is DiVincenzo not going to play, or is Poole not going to play? I know a lot of Warrior fans are thinking, well, Poole's not going to play. So I think it's 9, but it's got to be the best 5 or 6 on a given night, and you better hope that your 3 future Hall of Famers are all having a good night. It's a dangerous way to live. The Warriors did play tonight in part like they had the game in their back pocket that they could play with, but now you got to go win on Sunday or you're eliminated, and so that's just a dangerous way to live. Rafi in San Jose next here on 95.7 The Game. Hey, Rafi.
JD, how you doing, brother?
Good, man. How are you?
You there?
I got you loud and clear.
Hey, listen, couple thoughts. Not liking the way our bench has looked at all. I mean, I think our starters have been carrying this team all year. We don't have any support really on the bench with the exception of maybe Moody, Kuminga from time to time. I think Jordan Poole is reckless. I don't think he does not look pass first. He's always looking to shoot and just running full speed with no control. That's not Warriors basketball. Warriors basketball is methodical. It's a machine, and he does not fit this machine, period.
Thanks. Appreciate the call. He may not, but you got to trust him because it's Game 7, and you're going to need him to play, and I don't think you're probably going completely off board as far as how your rotation shakes out. But, yeah, the Warriors have not all year gotten enough out of their bench for the most part, and if they end up with 6 playable players on Sunday, that would be another part of the story. Diogo in Richmond. What's up, Diogo?
What's up, man? How y'all doing?
Good, Diogo. How you doing, man?
Hello?
Yeah, I got you, Diogo.
I'm good. Man, story of the night tonight. Can't make shots. 10 missed free throws. We missing it from 3. Shots just wasn't going down tonight. We saw Steph Curry miss, 2 free throws. We saw Jordan Poole miss 2 free throws. The best free throw shooters in the league missing free throws. Shots don't fall. It happens. To be honest, am I scared about the next game? No. Am I worried? No. I think we'll get it. Warriors like to play with their backs against the ropes, like y'all said, so we'll see what happens. Draymond should have started tonight. And Jordan Poole, like I said, reckless. Got to take some notes from Curry about taking it to the rim because he just gets blocked all the time.
Yeah, that was a problem tonight. It was once he got to the basket, he just couldn't finish. And the Kings collapsed on him, and he threw up some wild ones, and they were going back the other way for open looks and layups. And you're right, Diogo, about the Warriors liking to play with their backs against the wall. Again, no way to live, but in many ways, there's no other way this series would have ended than it going to a Game 7, and there's no other way that this season would have ended. Like, the story of this season was not, hey, Warriors finally get that road win, and then they come home and close it out. It just hasn't been who they've been all season long. Sherwin in San Jose is going to be our final caller tonight here on Warriors Wrap-Up from Harmonic outside Chase. Sherwin, what do you got tonight? You get the last word.
Hey, JD, you're the best. You're my idol. You're the best commentator when it comes to Warriors basketball. You're the best, man, among the rest. First of all, whatever happens, I'm not going out against the Warriors. I'm not gonna sell my house because I don't have a house. So I'm not leaving Warriors. I'll be a fan for life. And one thing is that I just want to tell Coach K to address Jordan Poole in a way that whenever he cannot shoot the basket, can he not complain? Because the ball is like every point matters. So whenever he misses a call, or he always complains. So he's just down. First of all, he's always down. It's like whenever he shoots, somebody must give him a cane so he won't be down all the time. And lastly, you're the best.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, Sherwin. Some kind words. I got a few people coming down my road. Not too often people come down my road. I had a guy on Twitter coming down my road, maybe 1 or 2 texts to show coming down my road, 1 caller. I mean, I'll take those percentages. I'll play those percentages as far as analysis and where things stand and being able to speak to the people. So, no, good. I appreciate it, Sherwin. Regardless, the Warriors, they're up against it in a big way. And so one day to clear their heads and take that bus ride for a third time to Sacramento and stay in the hotel and get ready for a legacy game for the Big Three. And, a thought that I know a lot of Warrior fans don't want to be thinking about, but it could be potentially the end of the dynasty, depending upon what happens moving forward if the Warriors are unable to get the job done. Lakers, by the way, are blowing out the Grizzlies. So the Grizzlies are going to be done in the first round of the playoffs. About 9 minutes to go. The Lakers are up 107-71 right now. So the Lakers are going to advance to the conference semifinals, where they will take on the winner of Game 7, and that series we now know will begin on Tuesday, either right back here at Chase or in Sacramento at Golden One Center, with the Lakers being the 7 seed and the Kings and Warriors both being the better seed between those two teams. So it'll all be decided Sunday right here on 95.7. The game back to Sacramento, we go one more time. Thanks to Sterling Bennett. Excellent job by everybody, including Sterling, and led by Sterling in our San Francisco studios. Really appreciate everybody out here at Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City all season long for hanging out and for setting us up out here. Warrior fans, the absolute best tonight and all year here on 95.7 The Game. And we're not done yet. Warriors this week. Tomorrow, join me and Alan Stiles as we'll be taking your phone calls from 10 a.m. until 1. We'll be breaking down Game 7. We'll be getting into Game 6 and looking ahead to Sunday, the do or die. Nothing better in sports than a Game 7. And then, of course, I'll be with you Sunday morning, 11 o'clock, Warriors Live. Warriors and the Kings from Golden One Center one more time. Win or go home for Golden State to play the Lakers on Tuesday night. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning, but we appreciate everybody for calling and joining the conversation. Kings beat the Warriors tonight 118-99, and you heard it right here on your home for Warriors basketball, 95.7 The Game.